Welcome to the Poetry Justice Show with Jackie Ray Phillips on YakesRadio.com and AcceleratorRadio.net. Here on the Poetry Justice Show, this is where social consciousness meets the arts. And what we do is we select topics that spark the interest and awareness of social diversity, ranging from arts, entertainment, and social justice at large, leaving our listeners thinking and saying,
YakesRadio.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, those are the sultry sounds of my mentor, the Mr. Kevin Nash, and I always love to give Mr. Nash a shout out and recognition because I admire Mr. Nash, I respect Mr. Nash, and if it were not for his brainchild here at Accelerated Radio, I couldn't do what I just so love to do here on Saturday nights, ladies and gentlemen. And so I also like to start off by giving very special homage and shout out to our sponsorships, starting out with the beautiful and amazing Lori G, the benefactor. How are you tonight, gorgeous?
I am great, excited, happy, all of that.
Awesome. Why, thank you so much. We're so excited to have you here on the show. You looking forward to an amazing night, girl?
I am looking forward to an amazing night. We got some stuff to talk about tonight.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely.
Tea time. We got Shelly C and Tanya Michelle in the house. It's going to be an exciting one, ladies and gentlemen. This particular episode is being sponsored by the gorgeous ladies of the chat. So we love you and appreciate you, ladies and gentlemen. And then I like to give a very special shout out to G Babies Catering LLC, ladies and gentlemen. And I want you to check out Chef Mac. And he is most notably on Instagram, ladies and gentlemen. Again, that's G Babies Catering, BABBIES LLC, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to check him out when you get a chance. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to also give very special shout out to our amazing engineer, and that is the amazing Rashid. How are you doing tonight, Rashid?
I'm doing just fine. just getting things set up over here.
I love that voice, ladies and gentlemen. Such the radio voice. And ladies and gentlemen, I also like to give a very special shout out to WMPJ Steelworks Incorporated. I'd like to give a very special shout out to them for helping in their sponsorship and support of the show. And then we're going to conclude there with APS Muscle Cars Incorporated. If you need any maybe vehicle restoration or vehicle storage, a new facility over in Signal Hill, California. And you can reach out to Memo, that's MEMO with APS musclecars.com. How are you gorgeous ladies doing tonight? Shelly, you look so cute, girl.
So do you, girl. Love them lashes, girl.
Yeah, we get them cheap at the store. So we're just going to have some fun tonight out here, ladies of the chat.
Yes.
We're chatting about being chatty.
Yes.
Is it?
I'm excited. I'm excited, girl.
You?
I'm excited.
I'm going to just turn it back over to y'all because I got to get our social media set up. So y'all start bossing some toys around. Hi, Michelle, Tanya. Go ahead, y'all start talking. I got work to do.
Absolutely. Well, before the show started, we were talking about a little bit of tea. We usually save our tea talking segment to the end, but maybe we could split it in half, Shelly C.
Okay.
Because I heard bad news about Jamie Foxx.
Yes, he suffered a stroke and he is in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and it's so strange. People can be or look completely healthy on the outside and may even practice some healthy things, but it's just weird how younger people I'm seeing are having strokes. I have a girlfriend of mine. Her daughter-in-law just had one, and she's very young. She's like late 30s, and she's had to have surgery behind having a stroke and just trying to get back into the groove of things. So it's kind of strange how your body can sometimes just, I guess, wig out.
What do you think, Tanya Michelle? Like, from the medical perspective, are you guys seeing more strokes in younger people?
I think just all my career, when men get into their 50s, I see some sequelae negatively, whether it's hypertension, diabetes, high cholesterol. And it was just a study came out that showed everything that you do in your 20s through your 40s will start to show up in your late 50s and 60s. Right?
Okay, now say that again.
Between your 30s or 20 and 40s?
40s.
Okay,
so I'm paying for that now.
40s, your body will physically manifest some of those things in your
50s.
or late 50s. So,
need to get it
Oh
together.
man, I'm in trouble.
That's why I said I got to get it together. Though can you like backtrack? And try-
Yeah, let's talk about how
we needed the
can
blessings
you-
of Abraham to fix this. You know the blessing of Abraham. Yeah,
As
we
my
like
life flashes before
Jesus
my
can
eyes, right?
negotiate.
Yeah.
Girl, we need to go before the throne for some negotiations.
So even if you adjust and like you're eating healthier and you're not drinking as much alcohol and
I think with
you're
the
trying to
adjustments-
lose your
with Some
weight,
people, it's hard for them to adjust, especially men. Most men will still continue. African American, Latinos, you know, I see in there, they're like, diabetes, cut my toe off. Oh, okay, cut my other toes off. Oh, cut my ankle off. I don't care, go up to my knee. Instead of making the adjustment. You start seeing all these, especially in the Latino culture, you start seeing a lot of amputations, right, occurring. And they're okay with it.
From diabetes complications?
From diabetes, and then you have venous stasis, and
What
so
is
then
that?
it doesn't.
what is venous stasis?
So then you get osteomyelitis, where your bone gets infected.
Tanya, wait a minute. I didn't go to medical school, so
Okay,
you
so
got to
venous
use
stasis is
language
like
I
when you have a
understand.
decrease
Like
in
language,
blood flow.
language.
And so when you have a decrease in blood flow, your legs start swelling.
Oh,
When your
Lord.
legs start swelling, they start pushing and causes on your veins, it start causing discoloration. So you start having swelling and blue and green. And you know, green and blue tissue is not oxygenized tissue, right? And so you start seeing that. But for the African American men, and this is why when during COVID, it really hit me. I was working on ICU, and like 6 people were coming, and they were all black men, except one Latino. And they were in their 40s and 50s, but they had comorbidities like hypertension, high cholesterol, diabetes. And so I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a way of coping. I just don't know if it's generations, the way we ate, and it just continue, you know. I just don't know.
Lifestyle?
I think it has something to do with lifestyle. I do, because you can be predispositioned for something, but if, like for example, my grandmother was predispositioned for diabetes, but because she did a lot of preventative measures, or she watched what she ate, I think she was able to prolong from getting it, or keep herself from getting it, even though she was predispositioned from my great grandfather. So I think there are some things that can be from, genetic, but you can break that barrier. Like you're not destined to have it because your parents had it.
Right.
Well, your
So-
etiology is sometimes people get it like high blood pressure in their 20s and they're healthy, but the etiology is connected to their genes, right? So sometimes you just can't help it. Like
I'm talking
children with
about
diabetes
developing
at
it
12.
later is what I'm saying. Like, in developing it later is what I was mentioning, because in speaking to like a nutritionist, she says you there are some things that you can have from genealogy, through genealogy, but if later in life you can stop yourself, like with a Mediterranean diet, maybe that can help with, heart issues and high cholesterol and things of that nature. So there are some things that we eat that affect our health. So I think if we eat a lot of red meat and, that type of stuff, saturated fats, then yes, high blood pressure and heart issues, you're more prone to it, right? If you grew up eating that and you continue, by the time you're 50, there's a problem.
It's this book I'll call Eat Right for Your Blood Type, right? And so according to your blood type, what you should eat. I don't know if there's a lot of studies behind it. There's a few studies, but different blood types, according to this book, shouldn't eat a certain food, and it helps you have longevity, right? So my son was trying to lose some weight, and I said, okay, you're a blood type B, go in. And he was like, all the stuff I like, I can't eat. But he could definitely, he tried it for a week, and he could definitely see the difference in how he felt, his energy, weight loss, and all that stuff. So I don't know. Sometimes I feel like this whole nutrition stuff is like throwing paint at the wall, right? Some things stick, some things don't, because we're all different.
Right.
And we're all made up differently. And I don't think nothing's cookie cutted for anybody. I've known people that had bariatric surgery that's lost 100 pounds, and some that had bariatric surgery ain't lost a pound.
Right.
So I just think you got to figure out what works
For you, yeah.
Right.
And that's the challenge, right? Figuring out what works for you. Yeah. Which leads us to our subject for today, life's biggest challenges.
Oh my goodness. In life or in general? I don't even know how to.
I mean, across all horizons. I think we talked about work challenges. We talked about relationship challenges, personal challenges. We're going to let Tiny Michelle lead us because she was thinking about some life challenges when we spoke last.
And I was, but I don't know what I was thinking about at that time. I think I need to take some notes next time on why I wanted to talk about that. I think I was having a moment of reflection and womanhood.
Well, I can jump in, right?
Okay.
I mean, and it, for me, my life challenge is in alignment with what we're talking about
Mine
eating
too.
and weight, right?
Mine too.
I cannot remember a time that I wasn't struggling with my weight. I mean, all the way back to, I don't know, like 3rd grade, right? 2nd grade, right, Jackie? How old were you when I was in 2nd grade? You could remember that, right? My mom, you're so big, we can't get you anything. You can't buy clothes off the rack. We got to go to the Husky section. And, just always that focus
Struggle.
on that. And I don't know, it's just always been a life challenge. And I can't just about every day it's thinking about it and going through my psyche too about cycles, right? There was a period in my life where it was all about image, and when I look back at photos, like I wasn't the skinny girl in high school, but I wasn't the really heavy girl in high school either. I was like 7, 8, 9, 10.
I was always thick.
Yeah,
Thick
so I was a
legs.
thicker girl, but
Yeah.
I was shapely. But even then, I felt like I was an elephant in comparison to the other girls in my circle.
an elephant.
Yeah, I just felt like I was always, even, and this is crazy to me, even at a size 8. I'm not very tall, like 5'2", and back then I was 120 pounds. But that was fat.
Yeah, it was
Society
thick.
said that
for-
was thick.
Yeah.
That was
I always
thick.
felt like a thick because I always had thick ankles, thick legs, thick butt, just thick. Even when, like you said, at your smallest. So I never felt small. Even at a size 7, I still had thick legs. I was just thick.
So that's always been a challenge for me, and trying to love me through that. It took a lot. It took to be middle-aged
To be okay.
to be able to
Same
say,
here.
I'm okay. I'm a good person, no matter what my anatomy looks like, right? And to really look at it through a lens of health, right, Tanya? Of like, okay, what can I have? What can I have? But my mom and my Aunt Helen, always talked about be kind to your body when you're young, because that stuff is going to show up. Like, we had rules about running the streets. Like, if you went out on Friday and Saturday, you could forget Sunday. You wasn't going out every night of the weekend. You needed to rest. You needed to be home. We had babies.
Right, right.
Girls now have a baby, they're in the mall 3 days later.
Yes.
When we had our babies, my
was
mom
like
was like,
6,
8 weeks,
yep,
don't nobody
6
see you.
for
You
us.
just drop off
And
the...
don't take a bath or comb your hair.
Exactly. So there was a big focus on that care, which I don't see. Even my daughter, like, stay at home, lay down. I got her to do it with the first one. The second one is a challenge to get her to...
They don't see it that way. I guess you could call her my daughter-in-law. Her sister just had a baby, and like the baby was only a couple of days old, and everybody was over there holding the baby. I was like, "What is this? Like, you're not supposed to be like." But everybody was coming over and holding the baby, like everybody. Not just 1 or 2 people, but like people I actually saw at the shower. And the pictures on Instagram, and I'm like, "Damn, the baby's only a couple of days old," but they do that now.
They do.
They do that now.
So that's been my life challenge.
Weight was a challenge for me after I had Jordan. Before then, I felt like I was this health guru. I would take herbs, I would do this, I was really conscious about stuff. But something about the second child, I felt like I almost let myself go. Because I was doing so much. It was like my husband worked at night. I had to do so much. And I was like second in everything that I had to get done. I was coming home doing homework, cooking, going to work. And I think by that time, I still was working 12-hour shifts. But I think that it just became like, I can't focus on everything.
Right.
And it's crazy because my mother was such a stickler about physical appearance, because in her age cohort, that's all that they had was how they looked. show people their status, right? Or who they were. She wears dresses and stockings and girdles and heels and all that stuff. And she's still like that to this day at 86, right? Because image was what they were taught was very important to fit in, to get into places, to mainstream and socialize. So she was very hard on us about physical appearance.
But that's the crazy part, because I've known you since you were 18. You have always been beautiful, no matter what your weight was. Like there were times when you were heavier, there were times when you were smaller, but you always had the same beautiful face and the same beautiful spirit and beautiful personality. And I think sometimes as women, I don't know why that is, we don't see it. Those individuals, right, that are going through that, but the people around you see it.
Yeah, but I think
I could never remember a time where I would say Tanya just let
herself go. Yeah.
no, but for me, see, that's what our own internal barometers come in. Because for me, I was never content, but I couldn't. It was nothing I could do with it. I mean, I tried to keep myself together, but I didn't like being that. I mean, when I met my husband, I was teaching aerobics, taking herbs, doing this. I mean, I was like real healthy. After Joy, I was real healthy. You know, she couldn't even have nothing sweet at her birthday party. At her first birthday party, I didn't even let her have cake. I was like this, and then somehow, how did that shift to not being important when that was my whole persona growing up, right? And I think that motherhood took over me, and then no one told me, you know what? You know, I'm going to the doctor every time. They're like, oh, you gained 70 pounds. I'm going to say, bitch, you should only gain 25 when you're pregnant, right? What you doing? I gained 70 pounds with Joy.
I did too. Both.
That's hard.
I gained 80 pounds.
I gained 70.
Get together with Joy, but these women nowadays, you don't see them gaining weight like that.
No.
You don't see, they're like 25 pounds, low carbs, don't gain more than this. You know? And I was just like, I love my strawberry milk in the middle of the night.
Me too. Me too.
All right, you guys you remember the bonbons. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I would not buzz you in through the gate unless you had some bonbons.
And so what has shifted? It's like, for me, when I look back, I said, how did I get there in that space? And then I had a
It just
husband,
happens, I think.
for all knowing to me, who wasn't saying, you know, you can lose a little weight. He was never saying nothing.
And nothing.
He said not one word.
No, mine didn't either
He
the whole
doesn't.
time. When I yo-yoed up and down. My weight really became a really, really bad problem in my 40s. I could concentrate and I could lose weight like nobody's business. But when I got to my 40s, I don't know if it was hormones or whatever. I just said, I don't give a damn because I'm not going to be that hard on myself anymore. Like you say, you come to a realization, like, I have to accept myself that I am a thick girl, that I'm going to be thick. And just try to be healthy. But I didn't have a problem after I had my children. It came right off after them. It was those 40s. I don't know what happened when the 40s came. It just became very, very difficult. And I don't think it's that we let ourselves go. I think it's because we, like I said, when I was married, I lost myself. Like I was so worried about, is everybody else okay, that I didn't worry about myself.
But that's letting you go.
Right.
That's letting you go.
So I think that's part of it, is because we stepped into that motherhood and we stepped into it 100%. Like I have coworkers now who constantly talk about, yeah, you know, I worry about the kids, but I have to worry about myself. I have to do this. I'm like, man, why didn't I do that?
Girl.
Like they
do it-
say
I do it
that-
now.
I do it now. Oh hell yeah!
I'm gonna do it now. I'm
I'm gonna take me some me time, some self care, whatever. Whatever.
That's your
I'm taking
problem.
it because nobody's gonna come before me now. But I think that's what happened. I think as we were younger, we just got wrapped up in being that mother, and we didn't. Everything else came second. I didn't even think about myself.
Well, you know, I'm just going to have a little bit of transparency here. And I don't think I could blame my life challenge on motherhood. Because growing up, I mean, I think when we were little, huh, Jay, we had like that breakfast, lunch, dinner thing. But then I remember being like a teen, and I might have M&M's for dinner. You know, or we went shopping. My mother, she was a big time shopper.
for dinner. She lying, y'all.
Come on, you know, we would come down, and my mother, she was a high-end
yeah.
shopper. She did the Bullocks and the I Magnums and, you know, all those high-end places that had candy counters. And that was our thing. And you go shopping. We would go shopping at least, 3-4 times a week?
At least.
And when we come down the escalator, there was the candy store. And we would get 50 cents worth of M&Ms. That would give you
Peanut,
a good
and then
amount.
you get, see, look, you
And then
get
you get
M&Ms, and you get a bag of peanut M&Ms, and you're going to get a bag of plain M&Ms, and then you're going to get a bag of toffee peanuts.
I love toffee.
Yeah, so does my blood sugar.
And then we leave there, and then you're going to go to Douglas, and then you're going to get the good
burger.
meat or a burger, whatever you want. A pastrami. I'm 5 eating a freaking pastrami. I call it the good meat. I be like,
Good
I want
meat.
that good
Good
meat,
meat.
Mommy. Give me the good meat. She would get it for me. I wouldn't eat the bread. I just wanted that good meat.
See, that was good because you didn't eat the bread.
With an orange
I ate
bang,
the
but I had
bread.
an orange bang though.
No, I didn't have the
All
bang.
the sugar.
So you're saying
bang.
that to say,
Good
I'm saying that to say that, you know, I don't know.
Oh,
I-
sugar
I-
drop.
I
and
was
don't
al-
mention
I've
the seeds. And then
always
you go
been
into
a goody
Seeds candy
girl.
too. Yeah,
Right.
you already done been to
Love
Seeds.
Seeds.
This is an addition to what she got you at Seeds.
Yeah, we did.
You went to Seeds.
because
That was an
Seeds
event in and of
yeah,
itself, like
that
going to
was-
Bullocks.
That was
You
a
know,
specialty spot. We did that. Like going to
independently,
Bullocks.
like at Del Amo. Yeah,
You had to go to see. The people babysat us at Seeds. That's just
for sure
like-
at Bullocks and Buffums.
So
They
I
would
just
sit there and
think that
watch
maybe
us.
my perspective for eating wasn't that great. I think.
I love food.
I do too.
It's so
No, I don't really care that much about food. I love
I do.
goodies.
I love it all. I like food.
Goodies,
I
goodies,
like
goodies. Cookies, candy, cakes, pies.
I want the cookies. I want the steak. I want the meat. I want the seafood. I want the liquor. I want the cannabis.
And
I
liquor is
want
important. It
it
used
all.
to
But I
be.
got to just stop
It's
it.
not as important.
It's not as important for me anymore. I can't even, you know. I used to drink frequently. Didn't I, Shelley?
We did.
We drank frequently.
We did.
And back in those days, I drank white wine, which is probably the worst one to drink.
Unless you do Grigio. That's
Yeah.
the lowest in sugar.
But, you know, I want the Moscato
Oh, yeah. No.
or the Riesling.
Girl, that's
right?
syrup. That's syrup.
That's syrup. But that's what
That's
I
diabetes
drank
in a
in
bottle.
like my 20s, 30s. I think in my late 30s, I switched to red.
So
I made that
godless.
transition, which is better. So I've just always had a struggle with food.
Me too.
And I
I
think
just
not
love
so
it.
much food, it's just candies. Like
I love it.
I would get a
Oh,
box of Seeds candy. I'm going to tell this on air. I can't believe it. But that box would call my name. It would say, Lori, I'm down here. Come and get me. And before I know it, I have gone 50 trips to the cabinet and the candy box is empty.
See, now that's addictive behavior. That's what we just really need to bust it down to, because I know that's my problem. So it's just
It is.
I don't know why, but candy is not mine. But it might as well be because wine is sugar.
Yeah,
but
right.
again, I choose the one that's less sugar.
Yeah, I've switched to red.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that
But
other you was
yeah.
drink that Moscato, that's diabetes in a bottle.
But it's so good. That's your favorite. See, but you don't drink that much.
Lord.
So I don't know. That is my biggest life challenge. That's one of them. I have many.
I have
guys,
many, but weight is
that's
one.
one of
Are
them.
we
Weight.
saying that- What does that mean? I've always struggled with that because this is me personally. I look at Lizzo. I like her movement to make the big girls feel good. But she is like morbidly obese.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your message, right? So are we saying that as long as you love yourself, you can be in any state that you want to be in? So, I mean, what are we saying? Because I look at Lizzo and I'm telling you, I watched her whole big girl challenge and this, that, and other, and I thought, wow, she brought up a lot of girls' self-esteem. I mean, she did some good work with them and they did things that they never thought they could do and she got them to the next level. But she like 395 pounds, 400 pounds. Is that okay?
I don't think that. I mean, I don't think the message is that necessarily is that okay. But I think we have to deal with where we're at, and that's what I struggled a great deal about. Just because I'm X number of pounds, right? It doesn't mean that I have to beat up on myself, not love
Right,
on myself,
not have the
because
positive
that's
talk
my
with myself,
reality.
yeah.
I agree with you. Lizzo can also put out there healthy eating habits and, you know, medical issues and all of those other things. But to say, feel good about you and your size, you know. And for some people, like you were saying, Shelley, I don't know if 395 pounds is hereditary, but I'm never gonna be 98 pounds. I was never gonna be that, and that's hereditary.
What,
so I have to
Rashidi?
accept
What?
that.
What is wrong with
And I
Rashidi
think,
and Tanya?
you know, I don't think she's saying that it's. I think what she's doing is saying not everybody is that model-like size. I think that's what she's saying. Like even Ashley Graham, I think she looks great in a lot of ads that she models in, the bathing suits, the Sports Illustrated. She looks amazing, and she has breastfed 3 kids and has stretch marks all up and down her tummy, and she's still modeling. So
That's when they were talking about
who?
Ashley.
Ashley, who was talking about her?
It was on my phone.
Is that that's the black lady?
No, she has a black husband, but Ashley.
Okay, then I don't know her.
But she looks great. She looks great. She's thick, and she'll even go in front of her camera and she'll squeeze her stomach. The next thing you know, she's on Sports Illustrated. Like,
Squeezing her stomach.
girl, yes.
Okay.
And you can see it. Ashley Graham, look her up.
Like she's looking it up. Let's check it out.
Somebody on the red carpet. I can't remember
Ashley
her name.
Graham.
Ashley Graham.
I don't know
And
who
she's
it
like,
was.
why is y'all
She
fucking with me?
was a black girl,
Mm-hmm.
but she had whatever she had on. You could see her stretch marks, and you could see
Even the Dove commercial
And they
shows the
talked
women.
about it.
Mm-hmm. That's her. She has 3 kids. Her husband.
that's
I know that lady. Doesn't she be
husband-
on like
Her
Lifetime
husband
sometimes?
is her husband
Oh,
is
she's
black.
beautiful.
Yeah, and on her page, let me see if I can. On her page, she's like holding her stomach, and everybody's like, "Thank you," because
I guess that's reality.
They're like,
I know. I looked like that after I had my kids. You know what I mean? Like fluffy and.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I looked like that.
I mean, after you had your kids, you did. You did. I mean, you wasn't. What the hell? You tripping, dog?
No, I think that's beautiful.
I mean, I'm talking about like right here in the
I
center.
think what you're saying, Shelley, is what we're all saying is that embrace where you are, love where you are.
Where you are. If you need to work on your health or your A1C or your blood pressure or whatever, do that. But not everybody is a size 2.
Right.
And that's what I think Lizzo is saying. I'm not saying she's saying, oh, everybody should be 395 or everybody should be fat or it's okay to be fat. But she's saying, this is where I am right now. Mm-hmm. I may not be here in a year, or I may be here in a year. Mm-hmm. But I'm not perfect. I am who I am. I'm perfect to me. So I think that's the same thing that she displays. She don't care. She's like, but she's getting the modeling gigs.
I mean,
What'd you say?
She's getting the modeling gigs. She's
yeah,
getting
but
them
I
all.
think because we're living in a new climate,
We are.
right? And I don't think 50 years ago she'd be getting
No.
the modeling gig.
Not even 20.
But I think that's what I'm saying is I think that's what she and Liz are trying to say. Not that, everybody should be this size. What they're saying is not everybody's perfect, and I'm accepting myself where I am right now. I may not have gotten that modeling job 10 years ago or 15 years ago, but I'm getting them now, and this is who I am. And she shows where this girl works out. She shows where she's in the gym. And I feel like I'm like that. No matter how hard I work, I will never be skinny. I may be thick and in shape, but I will never be skinny. And I think
Like a size
for
2.
her size, she's actually in shape, relatively well. I mean, she doesn't look like Fragging Woman because if you compare her to Lizzo, that's not a fair comparison.
No.
Especially
Maybe
for
just
Lizzo,
in
because
philosophy.
Lizzo is-
But this is, Shelley, what you were saying is so true, because when you there's this shift that's going on in our culture, right? Black China went into
That's what I was just gonna say.
Black China went
She's
and
getting
took out
it's
all
what you
of
call
her
explants.
It's called explants. So she
Yeah.
went and took out everything, and now it's this movement that a lot of women are going to take out.
They
their
taking their
butts,
stuff
taking
out. A lot of the
their boobs,
Caucasian
taking out-
ladies do.
taking out a lot of stuff because
They
they're saying
do.
embrace you.
right, because
And they
Blac
said that
Chyna,
they starting to hurt. They said they can't lay down on their boobies because the silicone hurts, and then they start knotting up. And
And then if the
I'm
silicone
like,
busts,
what the fuck?
but that's a whole nother problem.
I mean, I get
but
it.
yes, but Blac
Like-
Chyna without the makeup actually looks beautiful.
She's
she's
beautiful.
gorgeous.
She
She's
actually
gorgeous.
looks
without the fillers, yes.
right. So it's like something happened within her past that gave her that trauma,
So,
that
see,
made
here's her
her not
picture.
confident in herself, that made
I
her.
don't think it's something that necessarily happened to her. It's society.
I think she was branding though, right? That was the
You know what
get
I'm
down.
saying?
That's what
Yeah.
everybody else is doing, and you doing the fillers, you doing it all.
But
Right?
that's after 3 kids, and that's
beauty or-
her. You know, that there was just a lot of people saying thank you. You know, this is reality. We all have kids. Like,
But I think
Oh,
also the
yeah,
messaging
yeah.
That's
is
her.
that
I remember that.
we have to
That's nice.
derive our own definitions of beauty
That's what I was gonna, when
and
you
not
said that.
not dive into a prescriptive one that has
Mhm.
been crafted by a man who doesn't have children.
Because there clearly is. America has a standard for beauty, or used to have a standard for beauty, whatever that is. I don't know what it composes of. If it's looks, hair, complexion, body, probably all those combinations. But as I can look at somebody and think that they're beautiful, and somebody else can look at them and I think that they're not, right? Because in their mind they have a standard of what beauty is. And to me, beauty is compelling of so many things besides just physical entity, right? And so I think, but the world has made beauty become more physical. Everything is physical about beauty.
True.
You see everything, and everything's about how do I look, and the size that I am, and is my butt big enough? Is my titties big enough?
I know you used to have to think about that stuff back in the day.
Because I'm like, you could have
All the BBLs that's going on.
there's
A lot
so
of
many
BBL. I
trends.
just
Like
can't.
before, you supposed to be like just string being skinny. Now everybody trying to get ass and titties. Like
then taking them out.
and then
taking
lips,
them out.
and then have to take. And that's the other thing. What happens when you get older to take that out? What do you got to do? You got to switch it out? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm cool. Just that little bit of plastic surgery shit I did back in the day. I'm not putting nothing in. I need to take shit away.
That's what I'm
Like
saying.
that.
When they put it in, don't they have to replace it at some point?
And then like, what happened? Your skin gets
Let's
stretched
actually
out,
look
and
at the
then
actual process
Look at them.
of
I'm just wondering. And then
Let's
if you're
see.
putting those fillers in your face, just like when you lose weight, if you're stretching the skin with the fillers, what happens when?
What are the fillers?
And that's
go?
what-
What are you feeling?
Black China was saying what was happening to her because she started losing the weight, and then these fillers are just like had her face all swole up,
Look,
looking
yeah.
ridiculous, and that's
So
when she
that's-
was like, "I got to get this out." It's on Hulu. It's called Explant.
Okay, I'm gonna watch
With
it
her.
because that was my thought process. Like you're filling all this up,
Yeah.
but then what happens when you no longer have it because you're stretching the skin, right? So then when it's
You have plastic surgery to
I don't
make
know
it go
that much
back.
about plastic surgery, but I do know that for some reason there's this urge for women to look a certain way, and I don't know. And do you get more men? Is it for men? If it's for yourself? Is it for social media?
Right.
Is it to get more men? The shift is just so profound, and it's like, is it giving you what you want to get?
I mean, if it's like the branding that she wanted, she got that.
like the
She had the Kardashian baby, right? She was
Right.
competing against social media moguls, right, of the world, the whole clan, the mama, the sisters, banging their brother. She went in all the way, y'all.
I mean, like,
I
think-
give her props on that. That take a lot of her guts. You know, everybody was coming at it, them sisters.
They were coming for her.
You know.
Right, and like I'll say this. There are some cases where it's like the reason that they get these implants is more or less just confidence. Fact of mama, it's like a self boost of confidence or to self ingest confidence into themselves, saying that okay, fact of mama, I see everyone around me that's quarter like in my circle, people that I grew up with, they got these,
And
Great. great assets that's like, man, but I'm over here in the itty bitty titty committee. So it's like, fact of mama, I want something that like I naturally cannot have. And it's like for some people that's the mindset. For others, I don't really know like every mindset, because every mindset is on a case by case. This is just a overgeneralized statement that I'm saying.
But when you
Okay,
look at the women back in the days, they didn't even have these options.
Oh, like Marilyn Monroe.
Like Marilyn Monroe.
Nobody cared about
or Lena
Actually, she was considered fat.
and she was a 12.
They gave her
considered-
crap for the
Yeah.
dress that Miss Kim Kardashian wore. They
Right.
gave her crap
For
for
the
that
dress.
gown
Right,
because they said,
and-
"Oh, we have to sew you into it." Bob Mackie, they gave her shit for that.
Right, and like
Isn't that crazy?
That's
and then
crazy.
this chick had to lose weight
right,
to get in it.
But I'm saying back in the day with that, they didn't even have these options, and their beauty was
I
outstanding.
know, huh?
Right, and like the one thing that since I was in the millennial era, and I watched some of the old time cartoons back in my moment, you've seen the whole Bugs Bunny, Roger Rabbit. Now, yeah, back in my moment, you've seen the women that were in there. You see, you know, Betty and Wilma off the Flintstones. Back in my moment, they look relatively what society would consider normal. Now you look at someone like Jessica Rabbit. Now Jessica Rabbit, she's just built broken, just off the top. The quote unquote idolized figure of just a straight up hourglass, where it's just like, you know, like just big up front, tiny waist, and just built busted.
Hefner-ish.
Yeah, but I think
Hugh
that was the
Hefner.
definition. You say America's definition centered around 36, 24, 36.
Even
The hourglass
Wilma
figure.
and them waistline. I mean, they
Just tiny,
tiny.
waist.
Even
Oh,
Lucy
the-
and Ethel.
Lucy was criticized
Lucy.
for her weight.
Yeah, that she was criticized.
And she was a
like,
12.
Girl.
She was a 12. And I think Ethel was
Like a 14.
10.
Yeah. That's just.
But I still,
It's tough.
But I
being
think
out
a lot
there.
of that with Hollywood stemmed from the dress designers. They didn't want to design for size 12s
Right.
or size 10s. So they wanted to design for a size 1 or a 0.
Zeros
or
now,
2.
zeros and
And I think
twos.
that played
Is it
into
size
that
0?
definition as
That was
well.
0, yeah. Wow. Double zeros as well.
Get out of here.
Double 0.
I never saw that.
so what caused the
Never
shift?
saw that.
What caused the shift?
I never seen it for me. I've seen it when I worked at Nordstrom's. Remember that?
I think also it's a diversification, in my opinion, right? Because
it
up
was-
until now, the definition of beauty back in the 50s, back in the 40s, even the 60s, were defined by white women.
Right.
Wasn't no black woman beautiful? Latina women wasn't beautiful. They wasn't looking at Asian women,
Asian women either.
as
Yeah.
beautiful. The definition was centered around
Blonde
white
hair,
American
blue
women,
eyes, yeah.
right? And then I think as more liberation, more awareness, more allyship has manifested, then those ideas and definitions of beauties have changed. Like the beautiful model, she does CoverGirl, but she's very dark skinned. Very dark
I know you're
skinned.
talking about.
You wouldn't have seen that back in
No, but
1960.
here's the thing too. You at some point you're going to have to get smart. You're going to have to start marketing. How are you going to market? And I think that's what's changed. You know, back in the day when a designer would make something, of course, they wanted to make it for somebody skinny and small, and they want all the stars to wear it. But really, where the money is if everybody can wear your stuff, right?
Yeah,
So
in
the only
size.
way that I can market to you is it needs to be on somebody that looks like you. So I think that's what's changed is that, hey, yeah, I make money, but maybe I'll just make money with all the white women. But we got so many different women out there now. I want to reach that market. So why don't I put people out there and put the clothes on people that look like them so they'll go out and buy it?
But I think that has to do with affordability too. They didn't cater to a market who couldn't buy. Right? Back then, they weren't spending money on makeup and all this extra stuff back then. You know, the women
Who was-
didn't work. The women, they didn't work. Now the market, now black people have more money than they did back then.
You
right?
said what changed. I think that's what changed. That's what I'm saying. Over the time.
Economics.
Yeah.
Economics change.
Yeah. So now they can afford it, but back then they weren't catering to you because you weren't the
You weren't
But I
buying it.
think also too, you're called out, right? I think there is a spotlight shown on Bob Mackie because he never dresses a person of color, or Dolce Gabbana has no people of color, or Dolce only wants, or Chanel only makes her dresses up to a size 4,
Right.
And I think that culture has changed too. That calling out through allyship, right? Of an awareness, which people will boycott you. Well,
Right.
what designer said they didn't make their clothes for people of color?
Hilfiger.
Don't
Was it Hill?
Tell me here, feel good.
Okay.
I
Thank you
think
for telling
Hilfiger
me.
said he didn't care if black
Yeah.
people bought him because he wasn't making clothes with them in
Oh, so
mind
yeah, so
anyway.
I wouldn't screw him.
I never have bought a piece of anything he has.
No. It's just all the red, white, and blue. For some, just, everything looks the same,
He did.
right? For a period of time. But
Yeah.
wowza. So look at that, right? The struggles, right? Weight, cuteness, gravity, age, right?
Yeah.
Change, differentials. I don't know. It's a
And just that feeling of belonging when I was thinking
What?
about this because I was looking at, when I had this leadership meeting, I was looking like at, wow, the shift in gender, right? You're starting to see more women at the table, right? But the women struggle with a sense of belonging, right?
That's my other
to-
life challenge.
For me today, I have to tell myself, no, you belong there. Every time I walk into a different room where there's different people that I'm meeting, you know, I'm trying to figure out, am I okay? Do I look okay? And I have to stop doing that to myself. Because what does look okay mean? If you're comfortable with you look, then it's for them to figure the rest out, right?
Right.
But just a sense of belonging at the table. I belong here. I can add value. I have a voice at this table.
Right.
And for so long, I didn't think so because more than likely I'd be the only African American woman in the room.
Yes.
And so I always think about as I went through leadership and I went up through the managerial chain, like I have a responsibility to make sure I show up so the next one can come, right? The way I act today determines if they'll hire another one. So when I got to, I was the only African American who had ever held this position as assistant medical center administrator. Only one ever in Kaiser. Since me, there's two more in my peer group, a male and a female. And every now we talk, they were like, in a way, they almost say that you opened the door. You almost made it feel like it was kind of safe to bring that in,
Yes.
even though the CEO of Kaiser was black.
Okay.
You would sometimes in your mind think, oh, they're black, so gotta be a lot of black people running around there, right?
No.
It's not like that
Oftentimes it's not.
right? And so I had so much pressure on myself of trying to feel like you belong. You know, you're competent. You made it just the way they made it. Your life bringing may have been different, but now you're equals, right? Be comfortable in that. Be comfortable in that. And that's one of my. And still, I have to talk myself through that if I feel like I'm getting ready to go in front of a new audience of people that I don't know. You got this. I have to give myself like this pep talk, and I don't know if it's color, gender, I don't know, persona. I don't know what it is, but I'm doing less of it. But I remember at one time I used to do it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I think I struggled with that too, because especially in my field, now that we're older, there are more black people in the field that I'm in. But when I was coming up, or when I first started doing this, there was hardly any black people doing it. Like they had an association, it was so small, Association for Black Human Resources Professionals, and it was like a handful of us. And we had to support each other because, again, you're in there a lot of times with executives, and like you said, you're the only black person. And you feel uncomfortable, but at some point you have to, like you said, you have to talk to yourself like, I belong here just like everybody else.
Yes.
And don't cut me off. Just because they would get to the point where, when you were there, I don't know if you guys have experienced that, but it would bother me a lot being in the room with a lot of executives, and they would cut me off.
Oh yeah.
Typical.
I hate that. And I'll say, don't cut me off. I wasn't finished, like I was saying.
That's a table.
Like, so anyway, I
No,
think
I've experienced those spaces, and I think for all the time, I think my whole journey, part of it, I think in the beginning was being around people that didn't look like me, and me finding a level of comfortability in being in that environment. And I just went to an event last week where we had people from the board of trustees and donor this, Allison Felix, we named our field after her. And you have to go and kind of smooge, and I have to give myself a pep talk. because I feel uncomfortable, which essentially sometimes are still all white spaces, right? I think it was one other black lady there.
Do you get used to it after a while?
I haven't yet. I'm used to being the only black person in the room amongst my peers, right? But I don't know why it is when it's that donor relationship where people are building buildings and donating $50 million and I don't know if it's so much along color, because I went to the Dr. Dre Jimmy Iovine donation event, and I still felt, even though Dr. Dre is black, I still felt I had to pep myself up to be able to be in the space with these people who make billions of dollars. And I don't know where that comes from.
I didn't find that when I was like doing corporate real estate all that time, maybe because it was daily, you know, around these kind of men. And from Grubb and Ellis particularly, there were just a whole room of them, you know, millions and millions of dollars selling millions of dollars worth of billions of dollars worth of buildings and industrial buildings, commercial buildings. Really, retail doesn't make much, the strip malls, but I don't know, you know what I mean? Maybe that's what's part of it from all that time. And then when I worked with that other guy there in Orange County, that was just him all the time, every day. You know what I mean? That persona. I'm going to use one of my friends, one of my childhood friends, where I just played my position. Miss T.A. would say. I remember particularly and I can tell you, I'm going to pull up the name of the movie, but I created a person. I created a person that I knew they liked. You got to remember, I'm a ghetto girl out of Compton. That's just real talk.
You said you just created a girl that they liked.
I created the person they would like, that I knew they wanted.
So
this is the ghetto one.
Okay, so there's a word for that I've heard people use. Have you guys heard code switch?
Code switch. Yeah, and I struggle with
And I got that from the ideology. Spook Who Sat by the Door. When the scene where the very light-skinned dude, when they decided it was good time for them to get money, and they decided that they was going to go rob a bank, and the real light-skinned dude, he put on the blonde wig. And when he put on the blonde wig and he went in here to rob this white dude, he was able to steal everything. He still stole everything off this man's desk. But the white man paid him no attention because he thought he was white. So he didn't pay him no attention. He robbing him. I mean, like, right, Rashid is him, and he just taking this fool shit. Like the Lalik, he just taking the stuff right off his desk. But because he had on that blonde wig, he was able to get through it. And then another reason that made me do it is that bucks, mulattoes, right, and coons. There was a stand, and that's just the truth, Ruth, and it worked. It worked. It worked like a mofo. It worked for sure when I was out there in OC. It worked. And then when I started doing those plays, when I started doing the plays and stuff, and we were doing Something Wicked This Way Come. And I was running late one day, right? And I'm rushing to get there and speeding. Rushing, that's when I had my little Trixie. My little blue Benz with the little drop top. I'm rolling down, flying through OC. And I had to go to the store. Went into the AMPM. White boy standing there. He getting money. He putting gas in his Benz. I'm putting gas in my Benz. And he looked at me and he says, "You are gorgeous. You, a person like you can live next to me anytime. I wouldn't mind you living next to me." Right, dog? How you looking at me? I was like, motherfucker. Am I supposed to take that as a compliment?
Yeah,
I'm supposed to take that as a compliment? Like, I passed the test, right? I can live next door to you, right? I don't know. That still sticks with me, obviously, because you see I'm talking about it. So I don't know. I lived that every day. I lived that every day from then. And I started working with the corporate real estate people in 2005, the end of 2005, through When Did Mommy Get Sick? And I left from that fool, like 12. All of that time. That's just what they were every day. And then I just became her. Did you guys remember? I'm going to pull it up. You remember the movie with Bruce Willis and Halle Berry? And Halle Berry played his executive assistant. I'm going to pull it up. Just Rashid, Google real fast. Bruce Willis, Halle Berry movie. And you remember that, and she was his executive assistant in this, but she ends up being, she's a killer at the end of the day, but she, no, that ain't the name. Keep going, but something business, something.
Double Jeopardy's Ashley's.
And the reason why I like the way she was in that film,
Ashley Judd.
Perfect Stranger. That's it. And when she, just her, Hallie, how she played that role of that executive assistant, like when it was looked like there was at Victoria's Secret or whatever, but it wasn't really Victoria's Secret, but they had this big party and they were doing this huge event, and just her clothing in that film, the way like the skirts, the tops, I called myself, remember after The Devil Wears Prada, I used to say my boss was The Devil Wears Hugo Boss, because he was a piece of work. But the clackers, my little shoes, clack, 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 clack. To this day I have problems with this right top toe from wearing the stilettos every day. You had to look the look. And Cynthia used to tell me that all the time. She goes, that's why they like you working out there, Jackie, in that real estate. She goes, they have a certain look, particularly how they want their black women to look, and you fit that look. And I was
Cynthia
just like,
fit that look.
She did fit the
In
look.
real
That's why
estate,
she was able to tell me that I fit the look. And I was just like, and I worked the look. I worked it to my advantage. And for me to have been in an administrative pool, I was the only black. There was 2 Asian girls, 2 Asian women, a Chinese woman, a Japanese woman, my black self, and all these other white chicks. And there's about 15 brokers, from Asian men to Korean men, and I'm talking these men is making big money. And back then you don't even realize, and I look back now, and the other reason why I really liked it, because that's when Hallie in the movie, Bruce Willis got the 750 Beamer, and that's when Mimo had bought me that. I was rolling in my big black 750 BMW. I'm like, nigga, you can't tell me nothing right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm popping out with all my little Victoria skirts on and my little tops and my little clothes. I played my position, as TA would say. I played my position, and they cherry picked me out of that just to come over here and worked with them independently. And he played me nicely just to show up. The parties we had was because JR, as he called me, is gonna be here, and they all would touch and get. I'm telling you, that's the role, right? That's the mulatto. Oh, she's the pretty girl, so I'm gonna think that was a mistake. That we're standing here talking and we're drinking, and you just happen to rub. No, that ain't no stinking mistake. But that's what Jackie's for, right? She's the face of the company, and she's gonna bring them in. That was my job.
I'm getting texts.
I did my job.
From our fans that say they love this story. And they didn't know this about you, and that you should develop it into a monologue.
Oh my God.
That would be good. But the question is, and I think that's where I struggle,
That's why I wore that blonde hair all that time.
but is it okay that we have to do that?
It's survival.
I know it's survival. But
Trickery.
it was something of Viola, and I haven't struggled with this. It was something of Viola books that I was reading.
I've been reading.
And she was saying we do all that to make them not recognize that we're black.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it was like, I have been feeling that, we all do it, because it's like we have to do it. But damn, why do we have to do it?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes.
Maybe we don't, but I don't want to go in there looking like Bone Quisha.
Right.
No, I think there's a professional standard.
just teasing.
I
that
think
was
there's a professional
far
standard.
fetched.
And I'm not saying anything was wrong because you played your position, but there's some people that feel like they cannot even move unless they completely do it 100%.
But I
I see
think
your
it goes
point.
back to code switching, right? Because I think, like in this room, and these donor people, my task is not just to be in there with them, but to get them to like us
Right.
and give us money.
Right.
And that is hard as hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you
That's
got a
also a
white
table.
racist individual
Standing in front of
that
Trying
you
to sell
got to
buildings.
figure out how to connect to.
With
So
it.
I can understand. I never
Yeah.
thought to do
Yeah.
to do that.
Played position,
To
man.
play
I'm
the-
telling you, I built me a
But
bitch.
yeah,
I built a
Wait
bitch.
till her next conversation, like, is that Lori?
Right, girl.
But I really do. I mean, I think we
I
code switch
did
all
that.
the time because
I
I'm not
do.
the
I
same
think so.
Lori on
I'm
the
not
radio
either.
that you will see
Imagine working
in
with
the dean's office.
Imagine working with attorneys that are white
Yeah.
and bringing in lots of revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got
different.
Yeah.
Right.
Because these are all hardcore entrepreneurs.
Right.
If they don't make no money, ain't nobody eating. Me, them, nobody.
But it's
Say
crazy.
with them.
The other day I called Lori. I was talking, and I think I called you right after Jackie. We were talking about something else. And I said, I just hired this sister girl to be one of my directors. And she walked in and she was completely different.
Talk to your mic, T.
Completely different from her interview. I didn't even, the doctor came in my office, they said, is that her? Okay. So,
What did you call it? Black girl magic? What do you say showed up?
That's not right.
and since her interview, she had a sleeve surgery. She has lost like 50-something pounds. She was almost 300 pounds on her interview, and so she's lost 50. And I know losing 50-something pounds can change your whole persona. But baby, when I said it changed hers, she walked in, hair down to here, these big old glasses, just bling, 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 bling. Eyelashes, nails.
Sound like
And
Jackie.
not that I wouldn't have hired her, not that I wouldn't have hired her because I was really going for her competence. She's a very smart girl. No, she was a very smart girl. But my question was, how come you didn't show up like that in your interviews? Just be
Because
you.
she hadn't lost
You
the
know
50
you wasn't
pounds.
gonna give her the job.
She wants
Y'all would have thunk twice.
I would have gave her the job because she's what I needed for the role. But I'm saying it's sad that we feel like we can't present our whole 100%
Yes,
self.
because if I'm going for an interview, I will have on a black suit, some pearls, and my hair pulled back.
Not
But
the
it's
pearls,
like
dog. You bring out the
Jackie's
pearls
But then
for sure, dog.
I put the pearls on. But then when I come to work, I'm gonna have on a shirt, some slacks. I'm gonna have my weave
It's a
down,
big- it's a
and my
big earring.
lashes, and some big hoop earrings.
Yeah, you got to have the hoop earrings on. You got to have the home fries.
I had never experienced that.
Jackie has. Remember when you were at that other company
God
and you
only knows.
interviewed the girl, and then she came with a handkerchief around her head?
She did. She did. An African American chick, and I interviewed her. You know, at first, and she came in normal, like a normal little. It was like normal, dog,
Yeah.
like normal. And then like the next day, or the day after, like 2 days in a row, she came in like normal. I say normal. The way she looked.
the interview.
Right, girl.
I'm telling
Day
you.
3, she came in here looking like Rafiki from the fucking Lion King. I'm not even kidding. She came in with
said
all
Rafiki.
this
So they
African.
not-
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why when
For
we-
real, I'm not even bull jiving. She came in with the
But
spear
if she was like
and
that,
everything, dog.
wait a minute. If she was like that on the interview, would you have hired her?
I'd have just been like, no, not for this company. No, because these people were racist. I was playing the position over there too. So, nah, hell no. Because I knew what they was going to come
So
with.
that's
Some
why
bullshit.
I have the conversation
cold,
about the
huh?
dress code. Like, you know we business casual, right? So
Right.
You need to come in here
with all that bull job.
Girl, she came in, we send them things. It's like, okay, you're coming in. She's a director. What color do you want your back wall? Do you have Tiffany blue? No, we don't have Tiffany blue, but let me send you what I have. Oh, does you have a desk that raises high to low? Yes, we do that. Oh, all my stuff is not matching. Is it somebody that can laminate? This is what I went through in 3 days. And I said,
that tells you high maintenance from the start.
and then she told me she was high, and she said, I said, okay. And so one of the head managers over there, men's supports, came to her. She said, she's a sister girl. She said, we're a little chill here. So she said, just you asking for a lot your first week. She asked me because she ordered a treadmill to put underneath her desk.
Oh, yeah, huh?
That was Thursday. Because they have working, and I said, you know what? I think it's a great idea, but I don't know if we've gotten there yet because we have a big program against workplace safety, and I don't really know where that would fall on the rules if you fall off your treadmill in the middle of work.
Right.
Even though I said, but I think it's a good idea. Let me put it to our safety committee because there's some people that may want it. It's so under the work treadmill, and she wants it. I said, great idea. We're just not there yet, and I do think it is, but. I was like, how come it's just not okay for us just to show up the way it's, who you gonna be?
Because you're not going to hire them.
They're right.
I don't know.
I'm
That's
telling
They
you.
have intellect.
I know
I come
that's
back,
terrible.
weave, lashes.
You coming back with the lashes?
My hoop earrings too. I'd be like next day, hey.
With rhinestones.
I'm hired
With
now.
the rhinestones.
With
Yeah,
the
what are you going to do?
rhinestones. I'm
Shit.
hired
I'm waiting. Or you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come like, me. I'm going to go through, like, depending on what the 30 is, a 30-day probation, 90-day probation. I'll go in there looking like Sally. Let me
90
get that
days.
probation done. Nigga, it's on. Now, I'm just being dramatic, but for real.
But
I
I
you
had a
got to
worker,
get the people what they
remember
want.
Angela?
That's do.
I interviewed her, and she was a nice little lady. And when I hired her, yes, yes, young as someone I thought I could take under my
She was down the
wing.
hall just playing
She
Tupac,
came
Lori,
in,
gangster
she
party. Ain't
had
nothing
a
wrong with
big-
that. She played
They had
gangster
a
party,
big
y'all.
poster. I'm like big as that TV up there of Tupac. She hung on her wall.
But I'm just saying, I'm seeing a trend. Is it only black women that do that? Because
I
don't know.
wanted to
That-
see your face when you walked in and saw Tupac.
but everybody
like, what is
Wait a
happening?
minute. But you guys, listen, this is serious. HR, this is serious. Everybody we're talking about
It
is
is
black.
very serious.
Everybody we're talking about is black. That means we
Girl,
can't show up
it ain't nothing but a
ourselves.
gangster
Party. That's our culture. We can't really show all our culture at
And
work.
we
Can
almost
we?
passed
They be
out.
telling me like, Dana, you the coolest HR lady we ever met.
Man, hold on. Why did you almost pass out, Lori? What's wrong with you?
Because you know the dean's office can't have Tupac hanging
Why
out
can't they?
in the reception
Right, that's true.
area.
Why can't they?
Like we could have
Because as-
John Bon Jovi.
As little as it is known, we have a huge Republican campus, and I don't think the Republicans like Tupac.
At that
And
rate.
therefore,
I got my
we-
Tupac shirt on today. What you talking about, Lori?
that was just bizarre. Then
Rolling
I
rolls
came
out of
in.
concrete.
I
Yeah,
came in
see?
the next
I
day.
wanted
Literally.
to see your face. I just wanted to see your face.
There
Lori
she
was like,
is.
what is
It was like mine.
What is going on?
what is happening?
And you know what happened for me? This is the truth. I don't know if this happened for you. I'm thinking, oh my God, she is over the top, and she's my hire.
That's what I was going to say,
That's
because
what I
it's a
started-
reflection
That's how you
of
do. I be telling people when I hire, I be like, look, I just told them that yesterday at the train. Look, y'all coming in under me. I don't want to hear none of y'all names coming up to me. No, I don't want nothing from you. I expect greatness because
That's what I
I'm giving
said
it to
before.
you. I'm
Look
telling
here.
you what to do
The
to
dress
survive.
code is business cat. Don't come in here with the
With the bull jump.
No, she's coming in. She's coming in, but she
talking
may
about
have
Rick.
rhinestones on her shoes, and she just. And I think it's just okay. But the first thing I thought then the next day she came with her little ladybug. Some ladybug on. I was like, what's that? Well, in infection control history, I just want you to know they were all ladies, and because of the microorganism and the bug were called ladybugs, and this, that, and then and this, and I got to bring my Keurig. I was just like, okay.
She just goes so
And
fast.
my
That's
COO
sweet though. But God
is-
bless you, Tanya. God gonna bless you for that.
my COO is real conservative, right? He's a male, and then I thought to myself, and after I talked to Lori, and I was thinking, and I thought, don't worry about it. Just do the work, right? Because your work will always make room for you, right? And it will reflect. And after a while, people may say, she flamboyant, but she competent,
See, that's what they say about me.
right?
See, look at what kind of HR lady y'all know walk around with ghetto nails like this. It's the Compton ones, huh? Anyway,
Yeah, but the competency is, we are so stuck on appearance, but it's really the competency at the end of the day that she's
Right.
of.
Are you getting the
And so I
work
had to shift. I
done?
was like, oh my God, what am I gonna say my butt? I was like, what is going on? And she was loud and all this in the office, and ordering people and this and then in my director to me, let me tell you, she says, do I have to be on call? I said, yeah, this is an on-call role. She said the last time I was on call, my husband was like, do I have to stop?
Oh my!
well, I guess next time you don't have to stop.
I'm
Called
clutching
an
my pearl.
overshare.
I was like, and we looked. I was like,
This is,
okay. So the next thing on the agenda, I didn't know what to say.
but yeah, that's a little inappropriate, but it's okay. We'll let it slide. But again, if she hit with the sexual overture, be like,
Yeah, I'm because one thing I noticed that black women,
'Cause somebody else
get
might
real
hear it.
casual around other black women, but there's
You don't wanna be
hierarchy.
her.
I'm
No.
your
So
leader.
Right,
can
bitch,
you,
don't come in
this
here.
So this is what you
I
can
need
you
to talk to you and Jackie on the side.
can
Girl.
you hire? Can you have them interview like your COO? Can you have them interview?
My CEO has to do the final for every director.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm just
my
saying
CEO ain't been back from vacation, ain't met her yet. I know she's gonna say this is not who I met.
because the reason I say that is because you don't want it to, like you said, it's a direct hire. That's why everybody I hired, I gave you all three of them. You picked that one.
right, you got to put it on them. That part.
Yeah, she finalized.
I
but
gave you all three of them.
But still,
You picked that one.
she's a sister girl. I feel some type of kinship to this. And
You need to
ownership.
disconnect.
I do. I really do.
Is that wrong?
Disconnect. It's
No,
hard.
I think what you got to do is Like
'Cause you gotta
said,
business
you
it.
got to make space for her, but she's got to fall underneath the rubric of whatever the guidelines and the policies
These
are.
And
Right.
then I think you
And
also
that's how that is. And just how we were talking about Lizzo, you know, who's X number of pounds and she does all of her dancing and untraditional things on stage. This person is just a director who has a very unconditional way of being in terms
I don't
of
know.
Kaiser's culture.
But I don't know if it's unconditional. I just think it's it's just
Or
not the norm.
unconventional.
But when I say brilliant and gonna take us where we need to take us, I'm so excited about that. And so I'd
And you
rather
can
have
go
her like
there
that.
in rhinestone shoes.
Right,
That's
but I'd
fine.
rather have her like that and competent than like that and not competent.
Right.
So I'm okay
Right.
with it. It just threw me off because that's not who you showed in the interview.
You know, but it's gonna keep throwing you off. Tanya, I'm gonna tell you that it's changing. It is so changing. I remember I would bring people in for interviews, and I already know you got a tattoo on your ankle. He is not gonna hire you. You know, but now tattoos are not even
it's no big deal.
It's not even a big deal. So I think as time evolves, eventually stuff like that is not going, because the way the millennials think, I'm talking about the ones that are younger than our kids. They come to work with a backpack and a skateboard,
and they're gonna get that job done.
and they're gonna get their job done, and they don't care what they look like. Some of them look like they rolled out of bed,
That's so true.
but they get that job done.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think all this was a lesson for me because by the time the week ended, I settled with it, and I had to talk to myself like, what was going on with you? You know, are you you know, the code switching and the ethnic image and all that type of stuff? Is that what's going in your head? I had to like, who are you? I mean, I really had to take myself through this metamorphosis of my thoughts because it's really about performance. This is a job. And then
Right.
why did I put so
But
much
I think,
pressure
Tanya,
on?
your socialization in the corporate world was not always that. And we all know, all four of us sitting here, when we started working, it was never just about our competency.
Right.
Right? It was about our race. It was about being a woman in a male dominated space. And so you always had to be better. You always had to be at the top. You always had to be. Right? And I think that's where we revert to because that's what we know.
Right.
And so it took you the rationalization of talking yourself through it, as Shelly C has said. It's a different time. It's a different era. You know what I'm saying? The workforce is a different place.
And saying to myself, well, kudos to her because I don't think that could be me. I don't think that I would switch. I don't think that I would show up
flip-flop.
differently. I don't think that I would. I would come home. I'm going to present myself.
I'm gonna come a little different.
Yeah, I'm just saying. But I was at the end of the day, it was like kudos to her.
Because I'm gonna wear my
being
pearls,
okay
like you
with
said,
her.
little necklace.
Yeah, I'm gonna wear my pearls.
no
my little
earrings.
necklace,
Sometimes I ain't even gonna wear no
put
earrings.
my hair back.
Yeah,
It'll be in a
ponytail,
bun or
yeah.
whatever. But the next day,
I'm
gonna
gonna
come
wear my
in.
weave.
I'm wearing my weave. I'm gonna have my suit on and my hoops.
Yeah.
And my lipstick, you know, that the interview lipstick was pale, light,
Right, but now I'm coming over here with bright red.
bright red, brown.
Bam!
Bam! That's who I
Key Lolo.
am.
These two. This is our HR.
Because I dare you say something to me. You don't like my weave? What? I don't understand. What's wrong with my weave?
Well, and I think that
Well, now with the Crown Act, it's unlawful to discriminate
Right.
against your weave. But
Well,
you guys
now-
know how many times did you go back and forth? Should I wear braids to work? Oh my!
Oh, my
goodness.
God, remember that?
How is that going to be perceived?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a part of,
yeah.
of
I'm sure
yesterday.
still.
That was
Did
a
you-
part of.
did you
yeah.
wear-
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I wore them.
Earlier, see, this is
Yeah,
the way I could wear
but-
braids and them really.
Because I know we
I
had
thought
a
a lot
conversation and you guys
about
weren't
it.
comfortable with that. Because
No.
now girls, they wear braids.
Oh, yeah, I'm
And
just
dare
saying.
you to say, what do you mean? Oh, your hair's, what do you mean? Is that a microaggression? People say that now. Now,
But this was not 30 years ago.
oh
People
no,
were not
no.
saying that.
I wouldn't wear
Right,
braids
and-
back then, but now,
No.
oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because now, because of the Crown Act.
yeah.
Crown Act, yeah.
But I know a couple of months ago we had that talk, and you guys weren't comfortable with
I
braids.
wasn't. And I'm gonna tell you, when I came back from vacation, I was trying to get these crochet twists or whatever taken on my head, and the girl couldn't take it, and I had to go back to work. I was like, oh my god, I had to go back to work
It's so
with
stupid.
these locks or whatever I had in my hair, and I went. It's crazy how you can judge yourself too hard.
Yeah, you put you
And
harder
so
on yourself.
I
than other
went
people
in
sometimes.
and they said, oh my, your braids look so so nice. That color looks nice on you. Okay. So I was like, you judge yourself from an
So
image
harshly.
of old, right? And how do you bring your mind to current day if it's okay? And then when she came back to my house, I was like, can you just twist it back up again? Because I curled my hair for another 3 weeks. And I wore them for another 3 weeks. But it was the anxiety. I'm just being honest. The anxiety that I faced going in there.
You were
had
hard
never
on
been
yourself.
there. Had never seen I was the only black administrator. Had never seen anybody else as a director in braids or anything. I struggled, but I had to go to work. I just did it. I might have put it back up in a bun or something like that, but it was clearly there. And then it was like I was hard on myself.
Yeah, you were hard on yourself then, and I was too, because at one point it was not okay for me. But I can tell you why it was not okay for me, or it took me longer to transition it, because I didn't want the question. Don't ask me about my hair. I don't want this to be a 20-minute conversation. I got to get to work. Okay, so that was my anxiety, having that conversation, and not being rude and saying, "Don't ask me that." I'm wearing my hair like this now, and that's it. But
Right.
But now I can say, well, what do you mean? Oh, your hair is different. What did you do? What do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah, but Crown Act.
And when you say, what do you mean? Then it's like,
Oh,
oh,
right.
right. Yeah. What do you mean?
They get real silent.
Now it's what do you mean? Like they get it. Like I'm like, is that a microaggression? Like, what are you trying to say?
It's cold.
Now I used to let go. I don't let go anymore. I say something. I say things I used to, and I maybe that's my maturity. But there was a whole lot of stuff I would let go, or somebody would say something, and I would just be like, "Oh wow, that's not cool to say," and I would never say anything. But now,
Oh wow, that's
what do you mean?
crazy.
That sounds like a microaggression. What do you mean? what are you trying to say?
And I
Should've
think
said
it's
you just
it's
call out
power
the
saying
microphone.
it from
Right.
an HR person.
Huh?
I think it's a different statement coming from an HR person.
Yeah, because I worked with other HR people, so they felt it was okay to say, "Oh, your hair is different. Oh, what did you do? Is there extensions in there?" It's like a 20-minute conversation. I'm not asking you about that.
Is there extensions in yours?
Yeah.
Because I can see your extensions.
Yeah, I
Because
can
they
see
hair
your
be so
shit.
thin, I can just see that shit. I be like, nigga, you went too fucked you up, because I can see all your thoughts.
All your shit.
All of it. I can see the glue. I see everything.
And
They little
just
strips.
be-
They put this little strips on it. They kind
And
of
just
stick. I be
be-
like, what the fuck is you doing, girl?
Right.
Every thought of that.
Kitty carry all. Get away
So-
from me.
Kitty carry.
Yes, kitty carry all. You remember her? From
The Brady Bunch, Miss Kitty Carryall.
Yeah. Anyway.
Life challenges
Yeah.
that brought us all the way here.
That did. But yeah, I understand. I used to have the same anxiety. Like,
Workplace challenges. So what do you do when you do, if it occurs, where you hire the employee from HE double hockey sticks? Like,
you just like when Tanya was talking about her, I already knew when day one, like when I have like somebody hire somebody, and being in HR, especially when I was in-house, the first 3 days, I already know, I'm like, this motherfucker is gonna be high maintenance. I'm gonna have to deal with this in my office every day. You just know.
You can feel it.
You can feel when that person is gonna be high maintenance. But when I just try to nip that shit in the bud in the beginning, because you're not gonna be here long. If I nip it in the beginning. See, some people, they know they hire somebody from hell and they don't say nothing. And then they get to the 3-month mark, the 4-month mark, and then they want to fire.
too late. Right.
From
And then
day
how we
one-
gonna create?
From
right.
day one, I'm in that ass. No,
Right.
you can't wear that.
Yeah, you got to go day one.
Day
right?
one. You have to, because then if you let all that shit go, and then they be like, "Oh, you need to fire her," all that shit you should have been talking to her about.
Where's your incident report? Ain't not one incident report, and now you want to let somebody go. Where's my
And
incident
now
report?
I'm trying to figure out how to get rid of this.
Exactly. You got to be creative.
Nah, so
You can't
day
do
one,
it.
I'm in that ass.
Yep.
Day one.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be like.
No, I'm not saying you first.
No.
We talking in general.
general.
We talking about in general.
The
like,
topic giving
oh,
anxiety.
She said employee from hell, so we were talking in general.
Hear that movie,
No,
Hell
we're not
Day?
talking about your girl.
No, just in
My
General.
girl's gonna be good. She's just gonna be high maintenance. I think some people are just
High maintenance,
and
yeah.
I think that's okay. You just can't be it in the workforce.
Yeah. I can tell. Like, you know from day one.
But she's
Oh, I only use blue ballpoint pens from whatever. Okay.
I just be buying my own shit. See, I don't do all that. I don't. I just be like, what? If I need this, I'm gonna go buy this because I
Only
want
right
it.
She only uses
Okay,
purple
see?
ones.
See,
I love them all.
But if you the employee from hell, not you. I'm just saying, but the employee from hell come in. Okay, well then you can buy your own purple pens. But right
That's
now we
what I
got
do.
blue and black. You just got to be in that ass from day one, or you gonna be stuck.
True that.
Yeah, I agree.
I tell them that in training, we're hardcore. You have to tell people up front, look, we're a hardcore group.
Yeah, we are.
If you are.
yeah.
But I think the hard part, at least at my job, is that I'm not working with these people directly, right? So I've got a team of managers and directors. So then you bring it to me now. You want JoJo fired,
Did you do the work?
but
Right.
That's what I would
have. Not you. Did you write JoJo up?
Right. Did you do the work?
You talk
Day
to
one.
them? None of that.
Day one.
Right. And so that becomes a challenge. I mean, I'm negotiating a deal now, which, you know, warning bells, whistles, everything is going off, right? But I'm the only one out there seeing them. And I'm like, okay, I think this might be a train wreck. But sometimes you just have to
Gotta
bring
let-
on the train wreck.
Just
It's
gotta
like
wait
you
and
said,
watch.
it's a committee and you're outvoted. But I'm like, this is just gonna suck up hours of my time.
Yeah, don't you hate
And
that?
that's the thing
Oh.
that I hate.
It's hours, and you know, I
Hours
have
of
done
my
none of
time.
my job today, but
No.
I've been messing with this kind of
Investigating, and documenting, and the list goes on.
I know. I think on our list too were what, personal life challenges in relationships.
What's that mean?
Life challenges with relationships.
What type of relationships?
We didn't specify. I just said relationships.
Well, we can specify now.
That's true.
What relationships do you have challenges? I have challenges with all my relationships. So I know it's
You
me.
want to go first, Jackie?
Right, you know, when they say maybe if it's you, if it's every corner, so it could just be me.
So when you say relationship challenges, you mean in general, right?
Yeah.
Conflict, say, or
I mean, I think friends, sisters, kids, husband, boyfriend.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just. I don't know. I don't have the patience. I don't know. I don't have one.
tolerance.
I just don't.
After a while, you'd be like, I'm good.
To me, nothing is that serious. Whatever.
Since COVID,
I have a challenge of letting go of grown kids, right? So I called my son this morning. I was like, oh. No, I texted me. He's like, oh, I'm in Vegas. I was like, I didn't know you was going to Vegas. He was like, I didn't think I needed to tell you. I mean, I don't live in the same house with you, and I don't think I need to tell you. And I was like, well, when I go to Vegas, I still tell my mama, right? And so it's like, I got one that lives with me that doesn't want to tell me anything. I got him. I think it's easier for me when they're out the house rather than you're in the house. And I think that your pattern is you get home at 8:00 and now it's 10:00 and I haven't heard from you, right?
Right.
I do that too.
Right. And so
I'm bad
I'm
at that.
having a problem. And my husband does it very well. He's like, okay, whatever, you ain't heard me, she be all right, unless it gets too crazy. But I have a problem. I'm having a problem balancing me with my kids sometime and the things I know and I don't know, because I do know when I was growing up in that space, there was a lot of things my mother didn't know half the stuff about me that I know about them. She didn't. I didn't share a lot, or it wasn't up close. So it seemed like that pendulum has shifted, but should it have? Because they're adults, right? But it's
I think you have a good point, and maybe I'm not the right person to answer this because I feel like I'm exactly like you. I have to know where my kids are at all times. Like, you can't just go out of town and not tell me. And the reason is for safety. People come up missing for days and shit. And I used to date a cop, and he would say, he would ask the person, well, when was the last time you heard from your son? Oh, it's been about 4 or 5. He'd be like, 4 or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you go and I tell him, and at first my son would get a little offensive and say, Mom, I am grown. I used to live by myself when I was in college. The same thing, my daughter. And I say, it's for safety reasons. I need to know where you're going for safety reasons. I don't want to be that person to say, I don't know where he is, or I haven't heard from him in 5 or 6 days. I mean, we need to, just like you guys need to know where I am, we need to check on each other. We need to know where everybody is.
I know, but sometimes I think that space is a difficult space, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to be like, I'm your mother, but I'm not mothering you like you were growing up as a teenager. You're an adult, your own income, whatever. So that makes you a different level of adult than me having to pay for stuff for you, right? There's no dependence there. You're staying there, but there's still a huge level of independence. And so and for me, I've always talked to my mother almost every day or every other day, or a sibling or somebody always knows what's going on with me, right, in my group. But with Jordan and Joy, they don't talk like that often. So it's like, well, did you know your brother was in Vegas? No, I didn't know my brother. Well, but so I might sit down and have to talk to him about it, but I don't know how to have that talk. And
I think that's
through
from
the
a
lens of
safety. That's how I got Greg not to be so like. Why I had got? I'm like, just say. I just need. Somebody needs to know where you are.
Yeah,
you can't just
because if
out.
something happens and we got to start looking for you.
You're right.
We need to know where to start.
But we got this text, taking off, landing, be here. I mean, we do that to each other.
Right.
And now I think he didn't want me to know
that
he was out
going.
there, right? So we got to dig more deeper into this. But I do get some friction with both of them when it's like, I don't know if I'm pushing too hard.
No, you're not.
Or whatever.
These days.
This world is so unsafe.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Not
It's
these
so
days.
unsafe. It's so different.
I make them share their location. I know they're 30 something, but they have to share their location with me. And
Mines don't do that.
oh yeah, and I share my
shares it with-
location. And I share my location because. And the other thing is too, if they don't have their phone, I can see where their car is. I know where their cars are. So
Now, I'm not that deep, Shelly.
I am.
But I think it's purposeful, right? I mean, Joe shares his location with me. I don't share. I'm like, I do need to find. I always need to find me somebody know where I'm at. But anyway, but with the kids, I'm just struggling with their adulthood, and I don't know because
And I
it's so
think it's
up
the
close and
world.
personal. Because when you're away from your parents, you don't see as much. I struggle more with Joy's than I do with Jordan's because she's in my space. It's hard.
Yeah.
You struggle with Joyce more than Jordan?
Yeah, because for me, when they were away at college, I didn't worry about them as much as till they came back into my house. So now you come back to my house, I could see what you're doing. I could see I haven't seen each other more, and it's 1 o'clock. Back
I think
then,
that's
I didn't
the
know
difference.
you were coming in 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Here, I can't sleep until you're home.
That's me too.
Right? But when you were out there, it was like little.
Right?
And so I still have that,
I think that's normal.
but I still have that for a 32-year-old.
Yeah, I have that for a 31-year-old. It's just, I'm gonna be honest. I went out of town for my job, and I know, like you, Jasmine lives with me and Greg. I know your pattern. I already know that you get home at this time. Your pattern never changes. So this particular night, because she knew I wasn't home, she went to a meeting and didn't tell me she went to a meeting, and she was down in the basement in that meeting. So when I was calling her phone, I'm like, oh no, she don't never not answer her phone. So then I'm starting to panic. So then I said, you know what? Let me call her. I called her boss, and her boss said, your mother's calling me. Did you know that? She's like, no. And so she picks up. She's like, Mom, why are you calling my boss? I said, because you're not answering your phone and you didn't tell me. Your pattern changed. Greg couldn't find you. I couldn't find you. And just because I'm out of town, that doesn't mean you don't let people know where you are.
Yeah.
There's something fundamentally wrong with me. I'm sitting here. And I realize that, and I'm fucking okay with it. Because I'm gonna drive me crazy, dog. I done been there. I ain't got but 2 nerves left. I'm not finna get that shit away from them. Fuck that. I see you when I see you. Because if you're dead in the ditch, what I'm gonna do?
Right.
What I'm gonna do?
I just need
Can't
to
do you cry?
That's
I don't know what
I need.
I know I'm being ridiculous,
but you're
but
right.
I'm being
Joe
dramatic.
was like that too. He's like, Tanya. And I told him, I said, you don't understand. I come from a perspective where I worked in the inner city in a trauma center.
Right.
See, it's all based on everybody's perspective, right? All I saw was bad. That's why I don't come home and watch the news. I saw the baby being thrown from car to car and hit the cement. I saw the girl coming in and her friends beat her up or her boyfriend stabbed her in her stomach. I saw a little 5-year-old coming in and the dad had cut him from head to toe.
Right.
My perspective caused me pause. It
Right.
caused me to worry because I saw a glimpse of the world that people may not ever see because the news is not as up close and personal as the emergency room.
As seen it.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I come from a perspective of worry. I fucking worry all the time.
Well, maybe you can establish
go.
some agreements. Like my oldest daughter, she gon' let me know where she is all the time, check on me. The little one, not so much.
Not so much.
So we have
Morgan.
agreements to say like, okay, look, and Jackie, she always watches these crime shows and she would loop me into, I can't even remember what the name of it was, but that show never went away. This man and woman, he was an older guy and he started liking her when she was like 14 or something, but the family wouldn't, of course, let him date her until they got older. And when she got of 18, the family was like, yes, you have our blessing, whatever. She was a nurse and she worked nights. And he was crazy. He believed she was having an affair. He took that woman and tied her to the radiator and beat her with an extension cord. And then would call
in
her
the Bronx.
mom, in the Bronx, and have her talk to her mom
Well, he did
every
attack
day
her,
as if she was okay.
Yeah, but he had her locked in there, was beating
He had
the
her
shit
locked
out
in there
of
and
her.
beating her, and she finally escaped and was able to run to her mom's. And from that, I told her, look here, all through college, you got to FaceTime me. We ain't got to talk long, but I got to make sure your ass ain't tied to a radiator.
It's crazy out there, man.
And I have to threaten sometimes. We cutting your phone off.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Then I get a call right away.
You get a call right
Call
away.
right away.
I did that with Greg. Greg left his phone. He played baseball in college, and he left his phone in the dugout, and he left it in there all night. And I kept calling, and it didn't call. So I called his dorm or his apartment building, and I said, I need to do a well check. And they said, okay. And I said, I couldn't remember what his apartment number was, but they went up there and they said, oh yeah, he answered the door. I said, could you describe him to me, please? Because we not having no, again, me and Jackie be watching them.
Yeah.
I said, we not having no imposters. Can you tell me what
not an
what did he look like? Oh, he had a beard, ma'am, and he had this and this and that. I said, okay, you tell him that he needs to call his mother right away. Because a friend could have answered the phone.
Anybody,
the door.
girl.
Oh, yeah, I'm Greg. Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. But I think, I don't have their locations. The youngest one, Morgan, has my location. But I just ask out of respect that you let me know that you're okay. Like Morgan, I don't talk to her every day, but her sister talks to her every day. And by way of that, because the oldest lives with me, I hear her.
Yeah.
Right. But I have to talk to her every couple days, just to say, hey, what's going on? You're okay? Blah, blah, blah. Just like that type of check. And then anybody who's living in my house, you got to be a part of our family chat. We have a family chat. And you got to let folks know I'm not coming home tonight. I'm staying in the city. You ain't got to tell me what you
are,
doing.
yeah.
But you're just not coming home tonight.
And
right?
I actually learned that from you, Lori, because I think there was something that kind of happened that was traumatic for me, and I called you. Were the first person I called, and you was like, "Don't you ever go anywhere and nobody know where you are."
Don't do that.
And I actually learned it from her. She was like, "Don't you ever." She said it just like that to me. Don't you ever go somewhere and no one know where you are.
Girl, Joe go on the first date, I'd be like, run me down license plate number.
And ever since
don't
then,
get in the car, meet him there.
ever since then, if I go out on a date or anything, my daughter and my son are asking
Somebody got
questions.
to know. Yeah.
Somebody got
Just
it.
a
And they
safety
have taken
thing.
license plate pictures of license plates, even licenses. Like,
Yeah, I think the setting the rules is fine because she'll say, "Now let me not show," because my patterns are pretty true during the week. Let me not show. Mom, where are you? It's still work. You coming home?
see, now they want to know who you are.
But let me say, Mom, it's only been an hour. It's that. It's your.
Yeah, but I think it's just, for us, it's safety. You don't want to be worrying about it. And my hours fluctuate, and I'm in the city late or whatever. But I will always text the family chat to say,
I'm gonna be late. Yeah.
I'm gonna be late. Had a play tonight. Lots of traffic on the freeway, or hanging at my sister's. Whatever I'm doing, just so people know, and they will respond back into. Except for the little one, we're working with her.
I know you try.
The safety thing. I think is really important.
it works, Tanya, because now he's a little bit better. Like, he even knows me. Like, when it's raining, he'll say, "Made it, Mom." So, but it took me working that safety part in.
Jackie and you they just stay.
Okay, I've been traumatized already. I was traumatized about 10 years ago, and you guys already know. I'm just saying, I was traumatized. I've been traumatized before, not knowing where my oldest was, and not knowing really where she was. And literally had no clue. And I think I had one of the biggest panic attacks of my life.
I remember.
And
You said
It's
you
like,
wasn't
no
gonna
more
go
this-
there no more. Huh?
even to this day, it's like, I don't know. It just killed something. It killed something in me, if that makes sense. I'm just kind of, hey, if you out there, you out there. I mean, because she's done a lot of just jump up and leaves, and I don't know where you're going, or if you're out of town, if you are in the Dominican, I don't know. Like maybe that one time, maybe she went off somewhere and it was a fucking tornado, or what the fuck it was, Lo?
Yeah, it was
hurricane or some
called
shit,
me.
and she
I
could
remember
barely.
hurricane.
She got home within the skin of her fucking
me.
teeth.
I can see why now.
To a point where she was scared. She was scared, and you know that nigga. She was scared,
She don't get scared.
and she was quiet because she'll never get quiet. So I have been burned. I'm burnt. You remember Tony G to be like, you burnt? I'm burnt. I mean, so I've been burnt where there's concern. So I'm numb there.
But I think there's also.
Does that make sense?
Well, there's also. There
Yeah,
has
Mickey,
to be
that's
there
another
has to be
story.
a partnership, right? So if someone doesn't want to be
Found.
watched after, right? Then you have to
Respect
agree,
that.
like with the little one. We had a thing. I really, and this may be a horrible thing for a parent to say, I really didn't care what the hell you did. You just needed, when you was in college, I need you to call me by midnight. Hey, Mom, I'm alive. Okay, and in my mind, I could play the fact that you in your dorm and you sleep. I don't know where you at, and I don't even want to drill
And
down
I
to
know
that.
that you've gone out of
Right.
your dorm after you told me, "Hey, Mom."
Exactly. But for this silly game for my own
Right.
self, I could
So
go
I can sleep.
to sleep.
Right.
So we create coping mechanisms
We do.
of which we can deal with. And I even thinking through that line of safety with our kids. We know them. We know their patterns, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, haven't heard from one of them all day. Oh, that's all right. 'Cause you probably ain't gonna hear from that
Right,
one.
right.
The other one, oh, I haven't heard from her. It's been 3 hours. Well,
Right.
Lord, we gotta call
Yeah.
the police. 'Cause
Right. That's
she
Miko.
call
If
every
I don't
10
hear from
minutes,
Miko like
you know?
on the jump, then I know, oh,
Yeah.
bitch, it's going down.
Something's
I'm ready
wrong.
to. But with
Right.
Miko, you don't even get that far because the time I'm getting ready to get riled up and the anxiety, boom, the phone is ringing. So that's golden. I can't even.
That's Jasmine.
Golden.
That's Jasmine.
Golden.
She,
Never
I'm
problem.
calling you now because I already know.
Never off. Always
gonna be
on to the
stalking
break
me.
of dawn. She ain't never off. Never off. I give her that.
So that's what I'm saying.
Because she done seen me
but-
panic and be.
and that's what I'm
So she
saying.
like, I ain't gonna do that to my mom.
So yeah, and so that's what I'm saying. That if she does anything that's
Oh,
different,
you
gonna
on.
be like,
Yeah. That's how that lady ended up coming here to the show that time. Remember that lady came here last month? Because I had called Miko. Miko, I know, like you said, Miko, I know what time Miko coming home. I'm gonna hear that music hitting the corner, coming up the block. My baby, and I'm like, okay, 6. All right, 6:15. And then you kind of start doing some stuff right on your own. And then next thing I know, girl, I look up, it was 10 minutes to 7. I'm like, oh, helly ho, no. Hell no. Something's going on with my baby girl. I gotta know what's going on. First time it went through the ring cycle, she didn't pick up, and then my
You was
heart,
like,
I'm
okay, she always pick up the phone, right? Because she know you worry, right?
Lord Jesus, what am I about to do, Lord Jesus? Because there's something wrong with this girl. Don't call me back. That means something is literally wrong. That other one, whatever. But if this one don't, it's something's wrong, Jesus. And I don't even know what to do. And then by that time she called, I was like, whoo! Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. But she was there with the lady. She was like, Mommy, I know. She goes, I'm right here now with Kenya. And then that's when she got on the phone. And she was like, oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Phillips. I had never met her before. Never talked to her before in my life. I'm sorry, Mrs. Phillips. I'm sorry I had your baby here, but I was just talking to Miko. And we were just out here in the
got away
parking
from
lot.
her.
And no. And bitch, don't you know I'm sitting here worried as fuck? What's wrong with you, lady? Talking to my baby out there like that. What's wrong with you? Keeping my lady. What's wrong with you? In my mind, I thought that in my mind. In my mind, it's a bitch. And then so, she was mad as a motherfucker. I was mad as a motherfucker. I was like, man, you fuck my eye up, all that. So anywho, me and her started talking that day. So that's how we became, friendly.
Got invited to the
To the show. That's how you
You don't even know.
I was like, you got my baby out here. It's 7 o'clock, girl. You know Miko. And Miko, normally 7 o'clock, Miko has cooked, then worked out. Miko probably going to bed. So I'm like, wait a minute,
we know, yeah.
the schedule.
That's how.
I know I need prayer. I know I do. I do communion for myself too.
I had one last topic. This is one that's bothering me, and I know the ladies in the chat always have something. So I believe in feminism. I think fourth wave femininity has gone too far. But do you think this big push for femininity in women is new, or is it some?
Femininity, what do you mean?
You
I
know,
find that a little bit.
So,
Yeah.
the men are saying nowadays that the women are not feminine enough. Of the ladies are. It was this lady who wrote her. Somebody else. This lady wrote a book, and it's kind of spinning off of Kevin Samuels, talking about the reason why women are single is because they've lost their feminine traits. And I think when you look at the waves of femininity, that the fourth wave almost said that you should be equal to a man. That's the wave I don't think. I don't think I should be equal. Like I'm not like chopping wood, fixing the car, doing all that shit. So when you talk about equal means what you do, I can do. I think there's a limit to that.
I think there's a limit.
I'm not going to do that.
But I think I
want equity, but I don't want to be your equal.
Right. But it depends on how you look at it. I think in the workplace, I think we should be treated equal in the workplace. I should make as much money.
I'm talking about relationship.
Oh, okay, relationship wise. I think the same way that you do. I think there are some things that I don't want to do, but I have learned to do because I'm single. So
yeah, but learning to do it and thinking that you should be doing it always is two different things.
Yeah, no,
right?
I don't think I should.
If there was somebody else there that could do it.
If there's somebody there to do it, then yes. But if not, there's a lot of things that I've learned to do that I don't think I should be doing.
Well, they're saying because women are making more money, there's a different level of independence, and they don't have a tolerance for stuff like they used to. That's why the majority of women are going to be single.
Yeah, I would say that.
The increasing number of singleness is coming up. Back in the day with my grandmother, they had this different reverence for men than they do now. Most women, women are making more money, and so
a lot of them are.
How do you? And I'm talking to Joy about that, and I'm talking to her young friends about that, because a lot of them want to be married, but they don't want to be feminine. And I think there's a level of femininity.
Well, does marriage equate to femininity?
I think you can't. I think that relationships are meant to have a polarization, and they talk about they talk about this even when you look at bisexual or gay couples, right? Even though it's two women or two men, one is more dominant than the other. Relationships cannot last if there's no polarization, right? So two headstrong people are not going to be able to get along. Somebody at some point, there has to be a balancing of acquiescing, right? Whatever that looks like in your relationship, it may be different for you, or different for Jackie, or different for you, different for me. And I remember at one point, it was so funny because T.D. Jakes said that and this is switching it, but TD Jake says more couples get divorces based on what they think other marriages are like, based on their own. So like he does this and she does this and my husband don't do this, so I don't want to be married, right? And I remember thinking, oh, her husband cooks, her husband cook, Joe don't cook, instead of thinking, I really don't want Joe to cook, right? I want to eat his food, right? 'Cause he don't cook good. No, but I'm saying how the mind can play tricks on you.
Yeah,
the mind can play tricks on you. People can put on a good act, but when you get in the inside, it ain't
or
like
not
it.
even an act. We pick certain things that we see in that relationship, and it may not be what you're perceiving it to be in your mind.
Right,
because you don't have the backstory.
Right.
You don't have the backstory.
You don't know the journey that those people are.
Right. You don't know if they're
or-
working on it, or you don't know if, like you said, he
But there are
enjoys and is a very good
definitions,
cook.
right? I don't think femininity is why some women are not getting married, because if it's based on roles, there was this wave of women who were like getting husbands, from the prisons and all these other
countries.
spaces,
Yeah.
other countries, right? Because they were headstrong, dominant, right? And they wanted to be the decision makers, to lead the relationship, and so they found someone
Some men
who was
that
going
would
to
just-
acquiesce. Exactly
Yeah.
what you said. They provided that polarization. So I just think that we have to look at things through a realistic lens. Now, are you going to get a CEO of JoJo Corp? Probably not, right? But will you be able to find a man where it's cool? I'm gonna stay here and cook and clean and wash. I'm good
No.
with that, baby. Do you know what I'm saying? I think
Right.
there are people
Yeah,
out
but
there.
I don't think the girls that was in this group are looking for a man that they have to take care of.
Right,
Not
but it
necessarily
sounds like they're not. Are they not? You said they're looking for non-traditional type of roles, right? They don't want to. They don't want to do the cooking and the cleaning and the washing.
I think they have.
They want to go on the roof and
non-traditional-
chop the wood and
No, I said that's
kill the
fourth way-
animals.
No, that's fourth way femininity. I think they're looking for the relationships, but they still want to have some dominance in the relationship.
like what? Because I think in relationships, everybody has some aspect of dominance, right?
That's negotiated.
Right.
Right.
What do you think when men say you have to? Or have you ever heard of someone say you have to allow a man to lead?
All the time.
I think I've said this a couple of times. You guys probably already know how I feel about that. I can allow you to lead if you know how to lead. Like, I need to be able to trust that if you're going to make business decisions, or you're going to make decisions regarding my home, or our house, the way we live, or things that we're going to buy, or whatever the case may be, I need to be able to trust that you can lead that. But some men are not good at managing money. Some men, you look up and you'll be fucking broke. So I'm just being honest. No, there are some men
real,
you
dog.
will be fucking broke.
You won't know
So
what happened.
that type of man, you can't lead for me, because I need you to lead with some sense. So that I do
So
believe.
you're saying if they can't lead in finance, they can't be a leader.
Not just finance, anything. If I can't trust you, even with a home project, if you're going to lead that home project, I need to give that. You're going to do that, you're going to take the lead on that, I need to trust that you're going to get it done, and get it done sensibly. You know what I'm saying?
But I think maybe my definition is wrong. My definition of a good leader, right, is also a strong collaborator.
Right.
And I think for me, when you say to allow a man to lead, if he's a good leader, he's going to be a collaborator. So he's not going to make
I think more
unilateral decisions without talking to you. And if you are a good leader, right, and you're leading this family, you're not making decisions that are selfish for you. You're
right.
making decisions that are good for the whole
family.
household.
And I think that's where men got it confused, because the Bible says the man should be the head, but they also said that he loved the wife like
Right,
Christ loved the church. And if you love the wife like Christ loved the church, there's grace, there's companionship, there's understanding, there's patience, there's kindness, there's all these other things which allows you to let them lead, to be the head. But they take this head stuff, and I can say today, in my whole marriage, there's probably not one major decision that I've ever done without running it by Joe.
Yeah.
It's been like that
You should run it by
since we
Joe
were
then, I
younger.
think.
Just running everything by every decision like that. Now, shoes are at first, it will be a point where when I was younger, I'd be like, you like these shoes? And if he didn't like them, I didn't get them. I had to change all that up, all right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
he'd have me in tennis shoes every day, and that's just not my style, right? But I was so into that because that's how I was raised with my aunties and stuff. But I didn't realize that Joe was a different man
Type
from
of
my
man.
uncle, right?
Well, I think there's that part in the Bible that talks about being equally yoked.
Yeah.
But equally yoked is
all
not
this stuff. It's just too much.
It's not just Christianity. It's in everything you do. Like
Right, but I think
like
that's
that-
also too in your value system.
Yeah.
Right? In your level of compassion, in your idea of what a marriage should look like, right? In your ability to not, to be selfless. Because that's what
Yes.
Christ was. He was selfless.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
And
what-
he
I
did
agree.
everything.
That's what a man,
paid the
right?
ultimate price for his children. I don't know if husbands or people who are wanting to be husbands are viewing leadership through that lens.
No. Some of them think being the lead is telling you what the hell to do.
That's right.
And that's not what that is.
That's not what that
That's
is.
This ain't that. And I make that very clear. This ain't that.
Good.
You know,
And so I think maybe the young girls have got to really think about
Right.
the relationship, the whole marriage, right? And the motivation for that and why they're doing it. Because I think, at least I know for Joy, my goddaughter, if leading is through that Christian definition, she has no problem following, right? And so I think they're not holding the man accountable for a true definition of leadership, and she should look for a man that subscribes to that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
That's
what the ego
beautiful.
is.
But I think before there was a need for a woman to have a man. Because the men were the ones that had the job, normally make the most money. I think
Took
the
care of
need to have a man has shifted. There's this level of independence that I'm feeling with these women out there nowadays that was way different than when my sister, she divorced her husband after 45 years.
Wow.
And I think through her marriage, he was the head. And she stayed home. His job switched different states. She moved with him, and one day she looked up, and that's not what she wanted. But I think she had built herself to a level of confidence where she felt like she can survive on her own.
Without him.
And I think there was a lot of women back then that they could not survive with. They could not survive without a partner or a man.
There's still some women like that. There's still some women. I know some women who are like that. They cannot be without it. Like, some man is better than no man at all. Like, they have to have a man in their life.
Wow.
Well, they say from Claudine,
I know, right?
dirty draws is better than no draws at all.
Right, girl. And see, I think it's also what you're willing to compromise, and some of them, I think you're compromising a lot if this is something that you don't want to do or want to be.
Right.
To be with this person, it's a strange thing, relationships. But yeah, I see that, or I see them compromise things that they never would think of doing just to have this person. Like, that's kind of strange to me, but teacher.
But it could be pheromones.
It could be pheromones, but
be.
after a while, just like you know what, Lori, I look at
I was listening to Al Green. He said, "Make you do wrong, love. Make you do right. Make you come home early or stay out all night long."
I don't know. After a while, good
Depends.
sex and good pheromones, they can only last for so long. You can smell good and fuck right, but after a while,
Do pheromones die down?
I don't think so.
They don't die down.
they stay the same.
But I think what Shelley is saying, that at the end of the day, as you get older,
Older.
sex becomes less important. and
Pheromones. become-
companionship
he's cute.
becomes more important.
He
The way they
he
make
drive
you
an
feel.
IROC. That kind of stuff,
Not an IROC.
That's how we thought back
What he
then.
was. Girl, he got an El
He got
Camino.
he got an IROC.
With the T-top.
With the T-top.
I remember the T-top.
You remember the IROCs? Girl,
I do.
yes, girls. Back then, that's what mattered. But again, you guys know, as you get older, it's like None of that matters.
Yeah, I was
None
telling
of that
Joy as she getting older, she always saying, I don't know, even though she was getting ready to date a man with kids, and I think my daughter is more courageous than most women I would see to call off an engagement. That's very hard for women to do, call off an engagement when you start planning the wedding, right? But she called it off. So I always tell her that. I always try to encourage her that you're so brave for sticking up for what you knew was wrong, right? In the midst of whatever people can say was embarrassing. Oh, you were engaged and now you're not married and all that type of stuff. You have people that know the day before they weren't supposed to get married and still get married, right? And
She showed up for joy. That's
she showed up for joy. She did.
She showed up for joy. And a lot of people don't do that. They don't show up for themselves. And
I think it's hard to sometimes for whatever reason.
there's all kinds of reasons why people.
But I think it's the definition of marriage. I know lots of people get married just to have a wedding, not to really have a marriage.
Yeah.
Marriage is hard.
Oh, tell me about it.
That should have been the
I
topic.
think we all know that. whether you're divorced or married now, we all know that. It's a lot of
It's a
work.
lot of work. It ain't all picket
constant.
fences and shit where people be thinking it's like, oh.
Again, y'all always know I go with what my grandma said. She said, now the fairy tale is over. The fairy tale is over. The dress is in the
I
closet.
think I have fairy tale moments, but it's not the fairy tale I thought.
I'm talking
Of
about
the
the
night.
wedding. That's when I said fairy tale, like the wedding, the dress,
What'd you say, Jackie?
flowers.
Continue tomorrow.
That part, right? The uncensored version of it all. You know what I mean? I don't know, y'all. It's a hard card to play. Luther Ray would say. I mean, you just do it. That's all. It's like Nike.
You just do it.
You just do
Joe
it
asked me, he said,
until you don't, I guess.
if you knew what you knew today, would you
Hell no. Hell.
marry me again?
Don't ask that question.
And
I would just be
I take the
single life. I just been one of them big chicks just ran straight towing.
What I told him, I said,
Plead the fifth.
I
You
told
plead the fifth.
Yeah.
well, I
No,
told
I
him,
don't know.
said,
He probably say no too.
I don't know because I know I would have done things differently. And I don't know if I'd have done things differently what it would have looked like today. Right? That was my answer to him. If I knew what I knew today, I would go back and change the way I did stuff with you. Like I cooked, you guys know I cooked. And we still, those are one of our biggest arguments because he wants me to cook more.
You took that away from him.
And I just do it 3 days a week.
I could imagine.
I did a 7. And so I wouldn't have started that. See, if I knew today that you would be a monster.
What
over
Mama
it,
used to say.
I wouldn't have started.
Start out how you want to end up.
That's
Did you start out how you want to end up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't
you
cook
just
every
over there
day.
do you, and I'm over
No,
here
just
doing
in
me.
everything. Did you start off the way you want to end up in everything outside of cooking?
No, I took a wrong turn back there somewhere.
You just got thrown into the shit. That's the other thing. What are we doing? We didn't even know what we were doing. What are you doing? Married? What? Now that you look back, what the hell am I doing?
At 20.
We weren't pregnant or anything. I'm like, what are we doing?
No,
Why?
20.
So I be trying to figure out why did we think, me and
fairy
you, think that was
tale.
a good idea?
Fairy tale. I'm telling
Why
you
did we
for
think
me.
that was a good
Because your
idea?
parents did it.
Yeah, and I don't knock it. I don't knock it. It's
I don't see
been
anything wrong with being married.
tough get down, but I don't knock it because I guess I
But
don't know
get
nothing
scared,
different.
you guys, because I'm really enjoying
Your freedom.
what I do. I
That's
just do
right.
what I do. And when I got back with my boyfriend, Robert, you guys know, he used to say, I could tell you was single after we broke up because, girl, I was in the middle of the bed. Because I'm so used to sleeping in the middle of my damn bed. He was like,
Girl.
he was in the corner like this because I totally forgot he was in the bed. I was in the middle.
I don't know nothing like that, y'all, but we're going to be back next week on the Poetry and Justice Show with Jackie Ray Phillips on YikesRadio.com and AccelerateRadio.net. I love you, ladies. Have a good night.
All right.
Good night.